All right, so I want to go through. There we go. I wanted to go through why mindset matters so much in healing. So the conflict in mindset between where I come from and where the medical system, not the medical doctors, medical system comes from, I think is important. So my mindset is that the recognition that no supplement, no drug, no doctor, no therapy, no treatments heals the body. The body heals the body, and only the body has the power to heal the body. In chiropractic, we refer to it as the innate intelligence, the thing that we were born with, that came with the machine we get to run around in. That innate intelligence, that thing inside us, that's what heals us. We get in the conversation of, as soon as medical doctors or medical system or anyone can take dead tissue and make it heal itself, then great, we've moved past this. But the body heals itself with the design that it was originally created with. That's how the body heals. There's no drug. Again, there's nothing that man does, including me, that does to the body that heals the body. The body heals itself. And so when you start looking at it from that framework, the reason that's important is because then you start to recognize the role of the provider in getting the body to heal itself. And I think this is the major difference between the success that I've had dealing with things and the failures that the medical system has had getting people better, even though I don't believe that the medical system is trying to get people better. So when you start looking at things like, for instance, I'll give you a great example. Let's look at heartburn, okay? So people have heartburn because there's too much acid, right? And so what do they take? They take a proton pump inhibitor. So that breaks down the body's ability to create acid in the stomach, or carry ions throughout the body, hydrogen ion functionality. And so what ends up happening is you do produce less acid and you do burn less. However, what we have found is that the proton pump inhibitors are being linked to all sorts of cancers and all sorts of problems. This is because your body is not, most of the time when your body has heartburn, it's not because you're producing too much hydrochloric acid. It's, in fact, I don't think I've ever seen it where it's because your body's producing too much hydrochloric acid. It's because your body is producing too much lactic butyric acid and is not producing enough hydrochloric acid. So when you go back to okay, how was the body created? What you understand is the body doesn't have a pH sensor. I'm sorry, it doesn't have a fill sensor on the stomach. It has a pH sensor. So what ends up happening is that the body, as it's producing acid, if the pH isn't right, the stomach goes, hey, we need to up the production of hydrochloric acid. Now, here's where the rub comes in. If you're stressed out and then you're in a sympathetic state, because of the way your body's neurology is set up, you're not going to produce the hydrochloric acid you're supposed to. And so your body's going to use whatever acid it can get a hold of, lactic, butyric, like whatever else it can get a hold of, to kind of fill the void. The problem is that hydrochloric acid is a pH of 2, very strong acid. The lower the number, the stronger the acid. So 0 would be super strong. Hydrochloric acid is pH of 2. Lactic, butyric, a lot of these other acids have a pH of around 4. And so what ends up happening is that the body checks the pH sensor and goes, we're not strong enough. We need more acid. We need, because your stomach, the fill sensor doesn't necessarily know that we've shifted over. It just says, look, all I'm telling you is that the pH is wrong. And so the body tries to produce more acid, not making hydrochloric acid, using inferior, strength-wise acids. And all of a sudden it gets, so it fills up, burns the esophagus, and the body goes, whoa, stop this. And so it starts calming back down. So that's really what's going on. This is also why we see people who have high stress, have peptic ulcers. They have ulcers in the stomach lining from H. pylori. So H. pylori bacteria is supposed to be in your body. It's part of your natural flora. However, when you get too much H. pylori, you get dysbiosis. So that biosis is basically the flora of your gut. Dys is like an unbalancing of. So unbalancing of the flora in your gut. Yeah, we got too much H. pylori. And that's where everything kind of starts going. If you had enough hydrochloric acid in your stomach, it would kill the H. pylori and you would not have ulcers. So this is kind of, we go back to the system and then like, okay, what are we supposed to have? We're supposed to have hydrochloric acid. Okay, so we're not only going to not give the body the acid it needs, we're going to prevent it from producing acid at all. Well, all right. So definitely takes care of the burn. Not arguing that. What we are looking at is that it's radically changing body function. So the body is designed to do something, and these drugs are coming in and being like, don't do the thing you're designed to do. I'm going to force you to stop doing the thing that you know you're supposed to do, which creates issues in the body every time we do it. But that's what it's doing. Now let's look back at what hydrochloric acid is also supposed to be doing to your body. It kills, like I said, it kills H. pylori. So it kills bacteria, it kills viruses, it kills parasites, kills parasitic eggs, kills all those things. Your HCl in your stomach is your primary defense system. So when you're eating things, when you're taking things in orally and it goes down, the first step is like, hey, look, we're gonna do like this is a timely thing to throw out there, but we're gonna do a customs inspection and we're gonna kill all the viruses and bacteria and parasites that we don't want in the body. And that's what hydrochloric acid, that's what the purpose of the stomach, that's what one of the major purposes of the hydrochloric acid in the stomach is. So if we want to look at the differentiation of this, if you do the medical route and you take the PPI, that is, again, like I said, there's research backing it to all sorts of different cancers and all sorts of different digestive function, like all sorts of problems with it. Because again, when you force the body, when you force the system to do something outside of what it's normally doing, that is in direct conflict with the functional flow of how the body is designed to function, you're going to have problems. And we see that every time we do it. And so this is kind of what I'm talking about. As people get parasitic infections, they get, their gut gets all messed up by, bacterial wise and viral wise. And, people are just kind of going downhill from there. And because the original issue is psychological stress that is not being dealt with, we're going to see those problems all the way throughout the body. So again, because you're choosing not to treat root problem, you're going to have that root take root. And you're going to have it create massive problems everywhere. So what we should be doing is being like, hey, look, here's hydrochloric acid to kind of get your body back to where it was designed to be. And then we're going to do whatever we can to start offsetting all this psychological stress. And so that's where the NLP comes in. So a lot of times in my practice, what we'll do is we go, all right, look, we're going to take all of your chemistry and put it back where it's supposed to be. And then we're going to go over and we're going to fix the psychological stuff, which with NLP, that is driving some of the changes that are going on in your body from a neurologic standpoint. So we get the root cause of everything kind of dealt with. And so that's how the process goes. And this is the same process that we're using with the veterans and I use with people who have Lyme's and MS and dementia or anything. We take them back to baseline and then we grow from there. So this is one of the things that we're starting to see. So when I talk about the difference in the functionality between what we do with returning back to baseline, or we talk about how the power that made the body heals the body, this is what we're talking about. The return to the biological baseline of how the body was designed to operate. We go, wait, before we do anything, how was the body designed to function? Let's just assume that God knows better than we do, and let's go back to that original design. And if we get back to original design, a lot of other things will take care of themselves. So that's the differentiation. So when I talk about the power that made the body heals the body, what I'm talking about is we can understand from physiological study, scientific study, how the body was designed to function. And if we go back to the original design, how the body was created to function, we will get better at a much, much, much faster rate. Plus, we don't have to worry about any side effects. Because again, side effects are from forcing the body to do something that's besides what it's designed to do. And then figuring out, once I deviated from here, from original design, what other things were all messed up. That's basically what side effects are. Now, if you give people hydrochloric acid, this is hilarious. I do this with my friends all the time. I used to before they found it all out. Is they'd be like, man, I've got this horrible heartburn all the time. And I'd be like, oh, when is it? We'd talk about it. And like in my head, I'd be like, well, here's your stressors we got to work on. And I'm like, all right, cool. And I would literally like pour a bunch of HCl in a bag and I like a Ziploc, and I would give it to them like out of my like personal stash. Like, hey, here you go. Like take one or two of these, depending on their body weight, with meals, and this should really help. And they'll call me back a couple of days later. I'm like, man, whatever those antacids you were that gave me were amazing. Like, man, I feel better. Like they really, really help. Thanks. I'm like, cool. I'm like, hey, what was it? I'm running out. I need to get some more. I'm like, it was hydrochloric acid. And they're like, what? Like, but I had acid reflux. I had too much acid. Like, and you gave me more acid and it fixed it. I gave you the right acid. So we go again back to original design. How was the body designed to function? It was designed to function with a very powerful HCl, hydrochloric acid, in the stomach. The checks and balances of the body goes, yep, HCl is in here, pH is 2. We're happy, we're good. We don't have to deal with, we don't have to change anything. So again, this is kind of when I talk about the power that made the body heals the body, and using medications is not the long-term path. It's not the path to healthcare or taking care of someone's health. That's what I'm talking about. Now, sick care is a little bit different. I consider all traumatic function, ER function, kind of part of sick care. If you get shot, drugs are great. Drugs are great for a short period of time, not all of them, but medical drugs for a lot of the cases are great for a very short period of time to kind of take over, do something, and then kind of step back. A week or so is probably the longest that I would say that fits in. But that's kind of where these things work out. When we start looking at the long-term health functions, we should be looking at physiology first, correcting physiology first, and then going forward from there. The problem is that if you fix physiology, most of the time, and a lot of times it's with diet, it's with stress function and exercise and things like that don't sell pharmaceuticals. And so again, the problem we get into isn't that we don't know how to make your body healthier and function better. It's that it doesn't make enough money for pharmaceuticals. And so you're not taught, you're not told, and you don't know that path. And so that's what we're trying to get at. That's what we're trying to change. So when you hear me say the power that made the body heals the body, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the physiology you were designed to function with. When we talk about, how, Western medicine is not great for healthcare, that's what we're talking about, the long-term function of your body. And like, you can be like, well, you're just biased. Look at the statistics. Look at any of the statistics of healthcare that we've had for the past 50 years, and you can tell that we are going in the wrong direction. So if we go back to physiological design, if we go back to how the body was supposed to operate, and not just what's the next drug we can sell people, you're going to start to realize that there's a massive difference between where the body was designed to be and where we're forcing it to be now. And that's going to be your disparity in why people are sick. So again, that's the whole premise of where we're going. That's the whole pre-frame of this, with the whole idea that the power that made the body heals the body. And if we just go back and learn the physiology, the science of how our bodies were created and designed, if we live there instead of the pharmacological, what can we make the body do? I think you're going to see that people are going to get healthier. So that's the kind of mindset. And that's why I want to make sure that we ran through it, because this is a big deal for how we're going to produce health in the future, and how we're going to explain to everybody what we do and how we do it. So as we go through the next couple of weeks and months, we start putting some of this stuff online, working with patients, having them talk about it. It's going to be a lot of different stuff than probably you guys have seen. But it's going to be fun. So we'll get everything going, and then we'll let you guys kind of watch as we go. So follow us on X. I'll put a lot of stuff on my website that we can. What I found is that I had to go through and talk to some people that I owe favors to now. Google had listed my website as medical misinformation, so it basically dropped it from all search engines. So we had to change URLs. So the URL for my website is now pillarsofwellness.com, no longer Chalmers Wellness. But that's part of the fight. So if you guys need anything, get a hold of us, pillarsofwellness.com now, or call us at the office, or drop me a DM like normal. Talk to you guys later. Have a fantastic day. Thanks for your time.